Okay, kids, part 2 of a 3-part episode of my ExFiles. And if you missed part 1, I will link it down below. I've just ended filming part 1, and yeah, and now I'm filming part 2. And I'm experimenting with the lighting in my room, so that's why it's angled in a different way. And my face is so shiny. I'm so sorry, Jamie, but this is just how my face is, so we're gonna get over that. So, okay. Anyways, moving on from what I said in the previous episode, which you should watch that before you watch this. So, this is one of the biggest stories from Bill. And whenever I tell anyone about Bill, this is a story that I go to. Whenever anyone brings up Bill, this is a story that they mention, because it's kind of a big deal, I guess you can say, and like, I mean, I had to learn. So I entitled this The Birthday Fiasco. And so, okay, moving on. So Bill's birthday was coming up, I guess. Well, one day I asked Bill when his birthday was, and he would not tell me. He just said, oh, it's coming up, and I don't really like celebrating my birthday, and I don't really like telling anyone when my birthday is. And I'm just like, what the hell? Like, no, you have a birthday, let's celebrate it. So I begged and begged and begged him, and he finally told me when his birthday was, which I don't even remember when it is anymore, because Bill. So, yeah, he's super, so again, this kid is super private, and he didn't want me to tell anyone when his birthday was, hence me calling him Bill rather than his real name, which you will know if you know me. So, he made me promise not to tell anyone when his birthday was, and then I promised, and then he told me when his birthday was, and so things went awry. A couple days later, we were hanging out with two really close friends of Bill's. Like, they were my friends too, but they were more so Bill's friends than mine. And I was teasing Bill, and I blurted out when his birthday was as a joke. And then Bill got really quiet. Didn't say anything. Then he got up and he walked away. And obviously, I felt like shit. I felt terrible because I leaked a small private amount of information, and yeah, like, he just seemed to take it really hard. And yeah, so after the whole birthday fiasco, after me telling his friends when his birthday was, we didn't talk for 2 days, and I didn't really get it. I was really hurt, because, you know, like, this is my friend, like, I feel bad that I hurt you. But anyways, we didn't talk for 2 days, and then eventually we did talk, and Megan was just kind of like, she walked up to him before me, and she was just like, hey, you know, be careful, because she's really hurt, and she's really confused, further proving that my best friend is a badass. And then, when we finally did talk, we went to, like, this street that's behind our dorm. And that's pretty much where everything went south. He told me that he no longer wanted to see me, pretty much. He told me that his friends would say stuff about me and that he would defend me in front of them. Apparently, so they said shit about me that I still don't even know, nor do I really want to know. He said that I was a poor person of character. He called me a liar because of the whole, arranged marriage fiasco story, which, again, it was a joke. How do you not know that that is a joke? He called me a liar. He said he didn't want to be friends with me anymore, and then, I don't even remember what he said exactly. It just was really mean, and I was really sad. But the main thing was he wanted nothing to do with me. And then he informed me that he was gonna go have dinner with his friends, which, he was a very odd person. And then I tried to reason with him. I was about to cry. I tried to hug him, but then he literally ran from me. And then I caught up to him screaming, "I'm not gonna hug you! I'm not gonna hug you!" And, yeah, so then we continued to talk. And then he went his own merry way. And then I started crying because, like, that really hurt. Like, someone that I, like, at the time cared about and someone I considered my friend got mad at me for seemingly, like, no reason, I felt. So I remember I like ran into my dorm room and I was crying and I was like, Megan was doing homework or something and I was just like, he like Fred broke up with me, and then like I started crying and then she hugged me because Megan is awesome, and then we went to his dorm room to try to figure it out, and his friend Mike was there. And I just, like, tried to talk to Mike about it, and, like, Mike was just, I was just like, are we ever gonna be friends? I remember asking Mike, like, are we ever gonna be friends again? Does he hate me? And Mike was just like, I don't know, Kimmy. He brought up the fact that Bill was really mad over the arranged marriage joke, or, like, the arranged marriage thing, and then he was like, yeah, well, you lied to him about getting an arranged marriage, and then I was just like, oh my god, it was a joke. And even Megan was like, how does anyone think that that is real? And later on down the line, I found out that Bill told Mike to make sure that I wouldn't take any of his stuff. Because I had this habit of, like, I don't do it anymore after this story, actually. Like, I used to, like, so as a joke, I would, like, take people's things and hide them, but I would always give it back. So, Bill thought that I was gonna steal from him or something, so he made sure, he wanted Mike to be in the room, to be in his room to make sure that I wouldn't take anything, which is so stupid. Like, why would I steal anything from anyone? Like, I will admit that I have taken tape from the campus, but, like, that's from the campus, and it's tape. So, moving on. I took it really hard, and I took it as if, like, you know, and it felt as if we were an actual couple that just broke up. And immediately after the whole thing went down between him and I deleted his phone number and I deleted his Skype, and I found out that he did the same thing. And it was really, really rough because, you know, this was a person that I cared about, and all of a sudden they're just like, I want nothing to do with you anymore, without really giving me a good enough reason, I felt. So, after this whole thing happened, I had to go study with some friends, and I remember going to the sub building on my campus. I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, you know what? This sucks, but God, you're gonna help me get through this. And I just remember, like, looking intently into the mirror and just praying, because, like, I didn't really know what was going on. I didn't really know how to act or how to feel. I just knew that, you know what, God, this sucks, but you're gonna take care of it, so that's cool. So we stayed away from each other for about a month, but for whatever reason, I still wanted to be friends with him, and I still wanted to hang out with him, because it's like, it's kind of hard, like, it was kind of hard for me at the time to, like, let go of people. And, so a couple months later, on my birthday, that is the day that we started hanging out again and talking again. So yeah. But side story about how awesome Megan is. I just remember that, like, I was really, really sad, and I thought I was a shitty person, and I felt crappy, and all of this stuff. And then, I left to go to class, but then when I came back, fucking Megan, who is awesome, and I love her, she, on our window, she spelled out friend, and she was like, you know, she spelled out the word friend on our window, and she basically said all of these nice adjectives about me, like I'm caring and I'm kind and I'm sweet and stuff like that. And that was like the nicest thing. You know what? No, Megan has done many nice things for me. That is just one of the nicest things that anyone's ever done for me. And I still have, like, the papers that she made. I still have them in my memory box. So Despite the fact that Bill was kind of shitty to me at the time, and I was probably pretty shitty to him too, Megan was just fucking awesome. So, moving on. And this is another big story. This has to do with a girl named Taylor. Taylor and I were friends. I thought she was pretty cool because she was like kind of cool because she was like really punky and she loved music. So we were just kind of friends. But she totally annoyed me because we had a class together, and part of the class is that you have to like take your own notes and turn them into credit and turn them in for credit. And she like, you know, once or twice she like missed class and she was like, hey, do you mind if I like borrow your notes or something? And I was like, yeah, sure, that's fine. And then she started to do it a lot, and that really pissed me off because like I'm the type of person where it's like, okay, so this is my homework. I'm gonna do my homework. You do your own shit and don't steal from me. And like I remember one time like I told Megan specifically like, hey, if Taylor shows up and asks for my notes, tell her no or hide them or make some story up because I don't want her to have my notes. Like I had to tell Megan that. And even one time she came into my room looking for me and Megan was like, oh, she's not here. So then Taylor actually went and threw my stuff to get my notes. That pisses me off. Moving on. Okay, so partway through the year, I don't really remember when, Taylor started dressing just straight up like a dude. I just thought that was kind of interesting, but whatever. And even a lot of the guys on campus like thought she was a dude. And she was also, and later on down the line, I did find out that she was part of the underground secret LGBT community on campus. So, you know, like, I'm not gonna give my opinion on that. So, yeah, so she started dressing like a dude and she started going to the LGBT community at school. That's all I'm gonna say about that part. But anyways, I don't know why I wrote timeline here, but okay, so here is the timeline. Taylor was dating a guy named Bo. Bo is actually a good friend of mine. I consider him a good friend. Like, we have had a few classes together. He's really smart, and I talk to him every now and again, and I totally love Bo. Bo was a mutual friend of me, Bill, and Taylor. And she really liked Bo, and they started going out before spring break, and Taylor was super excited. She was super happy, telling me about Bo and how their romance blossomed because they were in a club together and all this stuff. So, before spring break, Bill and I were cool with each other. I think we were starting to be friends again, and Taylor and Bo were dating. So, during spring break, I didn't really have any contact with Bill or with anyone. I don't even remember what I did that spring break, but it's not important. So the day we come back from spring break, everything seemed normal. Everything seemed fine. Bill was paying a lot of attention towards me, and I can't really remember. I think he flirted with me a little bit. I don't really remember. But yeah, so Bill was paying a lot of attention to me, and like Taylor was there too, and like we were hanging out with some other guy. And then I got really tired because I needed to go to class the next day pretty early, so I peaced out, and then it was just Taylor, Bo, and some other guy. Oh wait, no. Taylor, Bill, and some other guy. So, anywho, overnight something happened. I kind of know what happened, but it's not my story to tell, if that makes sense. So, the very next day, Bill starts ignoring me, or like paying much more attention to Taylor. And literally, well, not literally, because I don't really know what happened between them during spring break, I think like Bo one time told me that Taylor and Bill started like messaging a lot during spring break or something like that. I don't really know. But yeah, to me, it looked like overnight Bill and Taylor became a thing. And fucking, this time 19, fucking 19-year-old me, who did not know any better and was a fucking idiot, out of desperation, I guess, it says I guess, I pulled Bill aside and I told him that I liked him. And I just remember that, like, I told him that I had a thing for him, I guess, but he was just, like, really quiet and he didn't really respond to that, which is never a good sign. If you tell someone how you feel and they're just quiet and unresponsive, it means they don't like you back all the time. I'm sorry, that's how it is. And, honestly, looking back, I don't even think I liked him. I just liked the attention he gave me. And, like, you know, when the attention was gone from me and placed on Taylor, like, I didn't really know how I felt about that. I felt weird and strange, and it was like, my source of attention is gone, further proving that I was a shitty person, and I still kind of am. So, oh gosh. And this is an embarrassing story for me. One night, he and Taylor were walking, and I crossed their path, and they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna go hang out, and I was like, oh, can I come? Which, like, is a stupid thing to ask. And then Taylor looks at Bill really confused, and Bill was like, not this time. And so I freaked out for whatever reason, and I thought that they were going off to talk bad about me, because I was so conceited. Excuse me. I was, like, so conceited that I thought that Bill and Taylor were, like, going somewhere else so they can talk ill of me. So I, like, walked around campus, like, freaking out, and then I saw them sitting off in the distance together, and I was just like, they can, whatever. And so that night, that's when they became an official couple. So, yeah, lighting. The aftermath of Taylor. Taylor was super nice and, like, kind of apologetic at first. I mean, I honestly should have gotten over it and not really cared, because honestly, like, I deserve a lot better than Bill, and Bill, this is, yeah. So Bill's birthday. Before the whole madness occurred, Bill invited me to his birthday at Medieval Times, and that place is kind of cool, and, I said yes because I really like Medieval Times, and, you know, he's paying for it, which is, like, a mean thing to say, but, you know, we were friends. So, like, after the Taylor, like, so, like, yeah, I said that I wanted to go to Medieval Times for his birthday, and then after the whole Taylor thing happened, like, when him and Taylor got together, I decided, like, I don't really feel right going, so Bill and I were talking, and I was just like, hey, so, you know, I would much rather have Taylor go, and, like, he said, like, you know, you're still invited to my birthday, and I said, okay, well, I would much rather have Taylor go instead of me, and he even said, like, you know, you're gonna go, but Taylor isn't going, and I was just like, no, that's crazy, like, she should go instead of me, because she's your girlfriend, and he was actually, like, kind of impressed by the fact that I would say that. And he said that she didn't really want to go because she was still uncomfortable with meeting the family, which to me is like, I don't even know, just whatever. But yeah, so she was uncomfortable with meeting the family, and that's why she didn't want to go to his birthday party. But the day of his birthday, I drove everyone to the party. There was my car was filled with me, one chick, and Bill, and 2 other friends. That's, like, I drove everyone to the party. Me. And then when I was there, like, his mom's, like, super cool, and I think she thought that we were dating. I don't really know about that, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that his mother thought that Bill and I were a couple. So yeah, there is that. And then afterwards, I drove everyone back, and there was a moment where, like, him and I were alone because he needed to get the TV out of my car, And even like San Diego got pissed off at that TV because like apparently it was a huge obstruction, but in the room. But anyways, like I was just like, hey, I'm glad we could be friends again or something. And then I didn't hug him. I shook his hand because we moved from hugging to shaking hands. So, moving on from the whole birthday thing. So at first we were really nice to each other, but like things got really weird, and the whole thing with Taylor was really fucked up, I guess. And the thing is, they were in the lobby all the time together, and I would have to pass the lobby to get to my dorm, and that really bothered me. Like, I didn't want to see them together. I wanted to be left alone with this whole thing, and I wanted to like move on and stuff, but to see them constantly really did a number on me. And like for a moment I like dreaded going back to my dorm because I didn't want to have to deal with them. I didn't want to have to see them at all. So yeah, but I guess like in my act of rebellion, they would be sitting on this couch, but like right next to the couch was like a little room so you can buy snacks. And I would always go into the snack room to buy snacks, but really I just wanted to parade myself and be like, yeah, I'm totally fine. But really, I was not fine. I was still really, really sad. Also, I remember like I did that like the night of the masquerade, which is like this thing, it's like this event at Biola where like people dress up. It's like going to prom, I guess. No, I take that back. People just dress up really nice, and one of the dorms dresses itself up, and there's lots of games and shit. So yeah, as my act of rebellion, I looked good in that dress, and I wanted them to know that I was over it, even though I wasn't. So then I walked by them into the snack room, and I pretended to buy something, even though I didn't. That is low, and that is shitty, and that is terrible, and really, really petty, now that I think about it. Yeah. And this is lip gloss. But him, like a dumbass, one day I was hanging out with my friends doing whatever in the lobby because I was like slowly getting over it, and he was sitting on the couch and with Taylor, and Taylor was like asleep and her head was on his lap, asleep. And so Bill was like, hey, Kim, come over here. So I walked over like, oh, what does Bill want? And he's like, oh, have you seen my cell phone? I have seemed to have lost it. And it was it was on the table right in front of him. Like within arm's reach too. And I just looked at him and I was like, it's right here. And he was like, oh yeah. That dumbass. Okay. Oh yeah, and a dumb thing that I remember that I did was, I got really, really sick at that time. The whole thing happened, and then I blamed him for it because I was like, it's your fault, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have been outside in the cold and rain for so long, so it's your fault that I'm sick. Turns out, I was not sick. I had allergies. Yeah. But probably, like, my favorite story that I remember, my favorite story from this whole thing, my favorite story from this part 2 is, okay, so I was really, really sad still, and I would talk to San Diego a lot about it because, you know, San Diego's my brother. And he told me, he was like, Kim, you know, sometimes you gotta be like Snoop Dogg and drop it like it's hot. And I was like, what? And he's like, Kim, just, you know, forget about it. Just drop it like it's hot. So then I took it upon myself to make a playlist entitled Because I'm Damn Sexy and I Don't Got Time for Your Shit. And the two main songs that I remember playing on repeat over and over again were it was Snoop Dogg and Pharrell, Drop It Like It's Hot, and I Love It by Iconopop. Those are the two songs I remember the most from this playlist. But there was 6 songs total, and when I actually looked back at it, the other 4 songs, because, you know, it's still on my iPod, the other 4 songs that were on that playlist were Doo Wop That Thing by Lauryn Hill, We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together by Taylor Swift, and I actually like that song, Pumpkin Soup by Kate Nash, and Do a Do by Kate Nash. though, like, altogether, those were the 6 songs, but the 2 I remember the most were the Snoop Dogg song and the Icona Pop song. And honestly, on my iTunes, I love it. I think it's like the most played. So yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, okay, so other things I remember is one night I ran around in the sprinklers listening to the playlist, and I was feeling totally liberated and totally awesome and totally like, fuck you and fuck this situation, because this is bullshit. I was feeling awesome. So then I ran into, his dorm, because I wanted to talk to my brother San Diego, who again is his roommate, and I was like, you know what, I just ran around the schoolyard singing I Don't Care and I love it and I feel really great right now. And then like I was saying it loud enough because really I wanted Bill to hear that I was fine, even though I wasn't. And then Bill, and I was just like, I'm totally awesome and blah blah blah, and then Bill's like, oh, I had nothing to do with that, and like kind of in a joking tone, but I think I annoyed him. I don't know, I would have been annoyed. Yeah, so, another thing I remember was I actually made him a playlist for his birthday. Because I really like making CDs for people and mixtapes. And, one of the problems that he had was, like, he told me that he, like, would bottle stuff inside all the time and he didn't like showing his emotion. So, one of the songs that I put on that playlist was entitled Cry for Everything Sad That's Ever Happened, and it's by the band Le Tigre. And I even wrote like this little quote from South Park that Butters said about like like, okay, so in the Raisins episode of South Park, which is one of my favorite South Park episodes, Butters is really sad that the chick that he was in love with didn't like him back, so he was just like, you know, even though this really sucks, I'm happy that something can make me feel so sad. Like, just look it up. It's a really good monologue. I'll remember to link it below. But I wrote that little monologue out for him, and I even was like, you know, a couple days later I was like, hey, did you ever listen to that mixtape I gave you for your birthday? And he's like, oh no, I haven't. Asshole. And I remember, like, he was going to Coachella because he really likes that stuff, because he really likes EDM, I guess. And I asked him, like, hey, since Grimes is going to be there, do you think you can buy me some of, like, this ring that I really want, and I'll pay you back? And he's like, yeah, totally, I will. He never did. I really need to learn to leave people alone after they tell me that they don't want to hang out with me anymore. I think that's one of the things that I'm, like, I learned then, I'm still kind of learning now. So, yeah. School year ended, and I said bye to him, and, during the summer, I kind of dreaded seeing him and having to hang out with him again. Or, like, not hanging out with him, but I just dreaded having to see him again, because I knew that Taylor wasn't coming back because she didn't like the school, and she's, like, one of the few people that I know that, like, freely left the school because she didn't like it, but she was moving to either like Illinois or Pennsylvania to continue school there because she didn't like Biola. So I knew that I wouldn't have to see Taylor again, but I dreaded that I was going to have to see Bill again. So one day during the summer of 2013, yeah, he contacted me via Skype. It was just like a quick IM. And it was like a really short conversation, and I didn't really want to talk to him because I was still kind of hurt over what happened. And like, God, I remember I was like, yeah, I'm trying to get this volunteer thing, but they're not letting me get it, or they're taking too long to reply. And he's like, oh dear, like, what has the world come to when a college student can't even get a volunteer position? But yeah, like, it was a very short conversation. I wasn't really engaged because I didn't really want to talk to him. And also, his reply time was really, really long. Like, okay, I'm sorry, but if you message someone first, like, that means you want to talk to them. And your reply time should be, like, within minutes. And his reply time was long. But yeah, he initiated it. It was a short conversation. And I ended the conversation because I had to go to the gym. So, yes, and this little mark means that it is time to end this episode. Thank you for watching part 2 of this ExFile. I hope you enjoyed it, and I am gonna go film part 3 eventually. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for like 3 people that I know are probably watching this: Jamie, Jessica, and Annalise. Thank you guys, and episode 21 part 3 is on its way.